Morning/afternoon/evening, everyone. Let's talk about a feeling we all love, the thrill of success. That moment when everything clicks, when the hard work pays off and you stand at the peak looking down at the path you conquered. Feels amazing, right? But here's the thing, your highest moment is also your most vulnerable. That's the point where people either elevate themselves to something greater or lose everything they worked for. When you finally reach that moment of success, when all the late nights, the sacrifices, and the relentless grind pay off, it feels like you've reached the summit of a mountain. You stand there, soaking in the victory, feeling invincible. But here's the truth. That summit isn't the final destination. It's just a base camp for what's next. Think about the world's greatest climbers. When they ascend Everest, they don't just climb straight to the top. They reach base camp, acclimate, strategize, and prepare for the next push. Because if they don't, the very mountain they work so hard to climb will turn on them. The altitude, the conditions, the unpredictability, it all becomes a danger if they mistake their stopping point for the finish line. Success works the same way. Too often, people treat their biggest achievement as the end-all, be-all, as if they've arrived and can now coast. But success is not a final destination, it's a checkpoint. If you don't keep preparing for the next phase, you risk losing the very thing that got you there. Your drive, your hunger, your discipline. The most successful people in the world, athletes, business leaders, creators, never see a win as enough. They ask, what's next? They use that moment to level up, not settle down, because the second you stop pushing forward, you start sliding backward. So when you reach that high point, don't get too comfortable. Celebrate, yes. Take it in, absolutely. But then remember, you're not done. You're just getting ready for the next climb. Success has a funny way of testing people. When you achieve something big, whether it's a championship, a promotion, or a life-changing breakthrough, it's easy to believe you've mastered the game. You start to feel untouchable, as if nothing can shake you. That's when the real danger begins, because the moment you think you're too good to fail, the world has a way of reminding you that you're not. We've all seen it. Athletes who reach the top and start coasting, only to get dethroned by someone hungrier. Leaders who think they have all the answers, only to make a misstep that costs them everything. Businesses that get comfortable and refuse to innovate, only to be overtaken by a new competitor they never saw coming. It's not the challenges that take them down. It's their own ego. The truth is, humility isn't just a virtue, it's a survival skill. The most successful people don't assume they know it all. They stay curious, they stay coachable, and they surround themselves with people who challenge them. They understand that the moment they stop learning, they start declining. And if you don't choose humility for yourself, life will choose it for you. It might come in the form of a loss, a failure, or an unexpected setback, something that forces you to remember that you're not invincible. But the good news, if you approach success with humility from the start, you don't have to experience a painful fall to learn the lesson. So no matter how high you climb, never let success make you forget what got you there. Hard work, resilience, and a willingness to keep growing. Because at the end of the day, you either stay humble or you'll be humbled. Success brings comfort, and comfort feels good. After working tirelessly to reach a goal, you deserve to enjoy the rewards. The problem isn't comfort itself. It's what happens when comfort turns into complacency. There's a fine line between taking a well-earned break and slipping into a mindset where the hunger that got you to the top starts to fade. You've seen it before. A team wins a championship and then struggles the next season because they assume their talent alone will carry them. A business dominates its market but stops innovating, only to be blindsided by a competitor who was working while they were resting. An individual reaches a major career milestone, and instead of setting new goals, they settle into a routine that no longer challenges them. The reality is, the habits that got you to the top are the same habits you need to stay there. The moment you stop pushing, stop improving, and stop striving for more, you open the door for someone else. Someone hungrier, someone more disciplined to take your place. Success is never a permanent state. It's rented, and the rent is due every day. It's okay to celebrate your wins. You should, but the key is to make celebration a moment, not a mindset. Remind yourself why you started. Stay a student of your craft. Keep setting bigger goals, even when you don't have to. Because the second you believe you've made it, you've already started the journey downward. So enjoy the comfort, but never let it make you soft. Keep your edge, stay sharp, keep growing, because complacency isn't just the enemy of progress, it's the beginning of the end. No one reaches the top alone, no matter how talented, skilled, or determined you are. Success is always a team effort. There were people who mentored you, supported you, challenged you, and believed in you when things got tough. They stood by you, helped you strategize, and sometimes even carried you through the hardest moments. But here's where a lot of people go wrong. The moment they reach the top, they forget the ones who helped them get there. It happens in every industry. A leader rises to power and suddenly starts making decisions without consulting the people who had their back. An athlete gets the spotlight and no longer acknowledges the coach who pushed them through grueling training sessions. A business owner hits a milestone and starts thinking, I did this instead of we did this. And that's where things start to unravel. The strongest leaders, the greatest champions, the most successful individuals all have one thing in common. They never outgrow their team. They lift others as they rise. They recognize that success isn't just about standing on top of the mountain alone. It's about making sure the people who helped you climb are standing there with you. Your team isn't just the people who work for you, it's the people who work with you. It's your mentors, your family, your colleagues, the ones who challenged you and refused to let you settle. The moment you start taking them for granted is the moment cracks begin to form, because loyalty goes both ways. If you forget your team when you win, don't be surprised if they aren't there when you struggle. So when you reach your highest moment, take a step back and ask yourself, who helped me get here? Acknowledge them, thank them, keep them close, because true success isn't just about getting to the top. It's about making sure you have the right people standing beside you when you do. Reaching a high point in your life or career is a moment worth celebrating. It's the reward for years of effort, discipline, and perseverance. But here's something most people don't think about in that moment. What happens next? Because no matter how big the win, no matter how great the achievement, the story doesn't end there. The question is, who will control the narrative of your next chapter? Will you write it, or will circumstances, distractions, and complacency write it for you? Success isn't the end of the journey, it's the beginning of a new one. Yet so many people fail to recognize this. They hit a major milestone, and instead of using it as momentum, they coast. Instead of asking, what's next? They get stuck reliving past victories, assuming the work is done. But here's the truth. If you don't take charge of your next move, life will decide for you. And more often than not, that decision won't be in your favor. Look at history. The greatest athletes, business leaders, and innovators are the ones who refused to let one moment define them, good or bad. They didn't stop after one championship, one breakthrough, or one success. They used each victory as fuel for the next challenge. They understood that the best way to stay relevant and keep growing is to always be working on their next chapter. And it's not just about pushing forward, it's about controlling how you move forward. If you don't decide what your next goal is, someone else will. If you don't create your own vision for the future, you'll end up chasing someone else's. The world is full of people who let their greatest accomplishment be the highlight of their story, never pushing beyond that one moment. But true greatness comes from those who see success as just one chapter in a much bigger book. So when you find yourself at your highest moment, don't let that be where the story ends. Ask yourself, what do I want the next chapter to look like? What impact do I want to make? How do I grow from here? Because the difference between those who stay at the top and those who fade away isn't talent or luck. It's the ability to keep writing their own story on their own terms. So be careful in your highest moment. Enjoy it, learn from it, but never let it be the final chapter. Because the truly great ones, they don't just reach the top, they keep climbing. Thank you.